Michael Waltrip's airplane. Dale Jarrett was with him too.
Sure, there's a buddy, right. Now Schrader looks to the inside and tries to take the lead away from Dale Earnhardt. As they come toward the stripe, Schrader had the advantage by a half a car length. They go into the first turn side by side, and now two distinct drafting lines.
Ernie got it. Oh, look here, Ernie. Don't go in the middle of those guys, Ernie, please. Thank you. Here's Bobby Hamilton on the inside. He's will make it 3 abreast.
I'll tell you, he is impressive. Those Tennessee boys, Darrell Waltrip and Bobby Hamilton, have hooked up together and come from nowhere up to the front of the pack.
And they're bringing Jimmy Spencer with them.
Ernie Irvan, just a couple laps ago, I was so comfortable up there riding along behind Earnhardt, and look what kind of mess I'm in now.
Yeah, we got a Spencer behind him, and now he's in the middle of the freak. Well, he did get out of that from down south. He's in a big pack of cars.
Terrific racing, unbelievable.
Oh, Davey Allison and Ernie almost got together at the start-finish line.
And now Allison is the odd man out in a 3 abreast formation through the first and second turns.
That's Jimmy Spencer down on the inside. That back with Booth. Chevrolet has some great runs in the short races.
This isn't the start of the race, friends. We've gone 68 laps. And look at Bobby Hamilton. He is going to go into second position, or is trying to. On the inside, he's got Darrell Waltrip with him to draft. He's behind him. And Earnhardt now drops to the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, he saw them coming up, and his father would have told him too, hey, those guys are working down on the inside. You better get down on the inside too. And he did that. Now he has to go around and things out himself to Pontiac.
Now Darrell.
As his drafting buddy Hamilton left him there. Now Hamilton does pull back down low, and Darrell gets down there behind him.
Bobby Hamilton has gone to second position here in the Winston 500. Ken Schrader is up high on the racetrack in third, and then the battle for fourth between Darrell Waltrip and Kyle Petty.
That's a 100-time Oldsmobile, and this is the same car that, due to the rain conditions in Martinsville, didn't get a chance to qualify.
Yep, and Bobby unfortunately lost the rookie points battle because of missing that race, but he is really showing the muscle now. Waltrip has been down there on the inside for the last several laps and appears to be working pretty well. But Jimmy Spencer is with him along with Ricky Rudd.
And he's really with him. Spencer was right up on the back. Now look at Darrell Waltrip. He's on the inside of Hamilton trying to take this spot away. Waltrip is going after Earnhardt.
He's got second. Can he take the lead? Waltrip on the low side of the 33-degree banking runs right alongside Dale Earnhardt. And Jimmy Spencer goes right to the back bumper of Darrell Waltrip as they drop down the backstretch. Tremendous side-by-side racing and a crash. Mark Martin's car lifts off the ground but does not go over. But this crash is going to involve several cars.
You see Hut Strickland in the mud. There's
they're running.
It was bound to happen. Blake's speed is damaged badly, so is Rusty Wallace. The Sunoco car of Terry Labonte on the right side of your screen is damaged. The race for the caution flag comes down.
Three-fourths of the field wiped out.
Darrell Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt, and Earnhardt had the advantage by about a bumper. Look at this. Looks like a parking lot. Looks like a junkyard back in the backstretch. Jimmy Means. There is Wally Dallenbach Jr. and Mark Martin's Fords that have been heavily damaged in this crash. And Mark Martin's car got way up off the ground.
We saw those strips coming out the roof of the windshield. That was the outside windshield strips that hold the windshield in, or supposed to. It left in Mark Martin's car.
You just felt like that something was going to happen, and here's how it started.
Mark Martin was down on the inside. Ernie Irvan got between he and Kyle Petty, and they touched, and around they go. Look at Mark Martin's car go up in the air.
Comes back down on all 4 wheels, and meanwhile behind them, those fellows have no place to go. Ernie Irvan is now spun up in the outside wall. Kyle Petty is spun, the first 3 cars.
And another angle now in this crash that has taken out several cars. Watch Ernie Irvan.
Yeah. And Ernie Irvan got into Kyle Petty. That was the first thing that happened.
And watch we see the windshield fly to these automobiles as they turn backwards.
And then several cars become involved, sliding into that wet grass and into the mud puddles. There's Hut Strickland throwing up a big spray as his Buick moved through. Rick Mass slides through the wet grass.
Bill Elliott might have drove through there. There was Terry Labonte Rusty Wallace looking at their cars, trying to figure out how much damage there is.
There's Davey Allison in the pit. He has extensive damage to the front end of that Hamilton Ford. And the pit crew going to work for it. Mark Martin's car is on the hook, or just about to be. He was one of those that... there is Wally Dallenbach Jr., who is out of his car. We may go to red here because the backstretch is essentially blocked. You can see there at the end of the backstretch, there are cars all over the place, not only in the grass, but also on the racetrack itself. There's Dale Jarrett's car up against the wall at the end of the backstretch.
Dale had almost got through, and a couple cars that were spinning in front of him came down and hit him and knocked him into the outside wall.
There's only 21 cars of the 38 made it back to the start-finish line, so there's probably at least 17 cars. There's Chad Little.
Chad Little is out of his car. That's Kyle Petty's number 42. I don't think he is out of the car yet.
We saw Kyle's hand come up out of the car. Meanwhile, I guess they are going to red flag the race.
Well, I don't know. The yellow is still out, but they are leading him down pit road instead of on the racetrack. Here it is once again. Contact between Ernie Irvan and Kyle Petty, triggering this multi-car crash. Look at Mark Martin's car go way up on the air, but it came down on all fours. But behind him, everybody gets on the brakes, slides, spins into each other down to the infield grass, creating a chaos on the backstretch.
Rick Mast must have been running 100 miles an hour.
Benny, you mentioned that the several cars had windshields pop out of them, and that's something that we have talked about in the past, how these windshields pop out of cars. We have a further examination in this week's Track Fact. And for more on that, let's go to Dr. Bunch. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
This year, NASCAR's asked all Winston Cup competitors to install straps like this that are 1 inch wide and 1/8 of an inch thick on the outside of the windshield of all Winston Cup race cars. The idea behind this is to try and keep the windshield secured in the race car when the cars get sideways or spin around on the super speedway racetracks, where the air rushes inside the car and wants to lift the windshield out of the race cars. And we've all got our fingers crossed that this is the answer.